If your GA4 reports are full of things like referral, unstructured UTMs, or random values that just don't make sense, or dread I say, you have high volume or general not sets or directs traffic volumes and conversions, your UTMs are probably broken and or lacking structure. And the worst part, it means you can't actually leverage your GA4 marketing acquisition data properly. In this video, we'll cover what UTMs are and therefore why they matter across tools like Google Analytics 4 and CRMs. We'll also touch upon why most companies end up with messy or unreliable UTM data and examples of how to structure them properly across key marketing channels like organic and paid social, email marketing, and we'll touch upon Google Ads as well. And I'll also show you the UTM builder we use that keeps everything consistent, follows best practice naming conventions, and lets you generate campaign URLs quickly and most importantly, human error free. So first, what actually are UTMs? UTMs are simply parameters added to the end of a URL that tells certain platforms where traffic came from. When someone clicks a tagged link, tools like Google Analytics, CRMs, and certain other marketing automation platforms can read those parameters and attribute the visit to the correct marketing channel or even that campaign. The three most important parameters are UTM source, which platform sent the traffic, for example, Facebook, Google, LinkedIn. UTM medium, the marketing method, such as paid social, email, CPC, or organic. UTM campaign, the specific campaign you're running, or sometimes initiative as well. Tools like Google will review these three key UTMs to determine what channel they should be categorized in by their default channel grouping logic. So UTMs are really the foundation of marketing attribution because they tell your analytics tools exactly where traffic and conversions are coming from. So if UTMs are so simple, why do so many companies end up with messy data? What we've seen working with different teams, it usually comes down to a few common problems. Number one, human error. First is just simple human error. Something as small as typo, an extra space, or a broken parameter can completely change the UTM's interpretation in these tools. For example, if someone accidentally adds a space in a parameter value, the rest of the URL can get stripped if it's not decoded properly. Therefore, UTMs stop working for that campaign. Number two is just inconsistent naming conventions. So different people tag campaigns slightly differently. Things like different delimiters or using uppercase versus lowercase, or just slightly different naming structures in general. Number three is the use of too many medium values. And this issue can basically stop us interpreting how the medium parameters should be used. Mediums should represent the marketing method, but many teams create dozens of different medium values, which makes reporting much harder. Number four is lack of governance. And finally, many companies simply don't have a central process for managing UTMs. Smaller teams often don't realize they should be using UTMs everywhere, so they're lacking the use of it, which leads to a lot of traffic appearing as referral, direct, or not set in reports. But on the other side, larger marketing teams often have the opposite problem. Lots of people creating UTMs independently with no central structure or documentation. And this is exactly why having a standardized UTM structure and central tagging tool is so important, which we'll show you later in the video. So how to structure UTMs. The key idea is that your source identifies the platform while your medium identifies the marketing method. This keeps your reporting clean because platforms stay consistent and channels are grouped properly in analytics tools. Then, if you want to go a level deeper beyond even campaign, you can use additional parameters like UTM content or UTM term to capture more granular information. Things like specific ad, creative, audience, or keyword that drove the click. This allows you to analyze performance not just at campaign level, but also at creative or targeting level, giving you much deeper marketing insights. Let's start with organic social. Here, the source we want to use as an example is LinkedIn in this case. And the medium is the marketing method, which is organic social. And campaign is typically the intent or post title. In this case, maybe something like free-UTM-builder, which is for me for after this video that I'm going to have to use. For paid social, the structure is very similar, but the medium changes to reflect that it's paid channel. UTM source is maybe something like Facebook or Instagram. UTM medium is maybe paid social. UTM campaign could be something like lead generation or prospecting or whatever it may be. UTM content could be video ad because it could be video instead of a static. For email marketing, you could do something like UTM source is something like HubSpot, UTM medium is email, and UTM campaign is newsletter. Google Ads is slightly different because it has something called auto tagging, which adds a parameter called a G-click to your URLs. This click ID allows Google Ads and Google Analytics to connect ad clicks and conversions automatically. However, relying only on G-clids isn't always enough. Some privacy tools and browser restrictions or redirect systems can strip click IDs from URLs before they reach your website. When that happens, the visit can accidentally show up as Google Organic or even direct traffic instead of Google Ads. That's why it's best practice to use UTMs alongside auto tagging so you always have a fallback source of attribution data. This ensures your traffic is still classified in tools like GA4 correctly, even if the click ID gets removed. A quick recap. A good rule of thumb is source is platform, medium is the marketing method, and campaign is either the marketing campaign name or the initiative. Now we are going to show you our own in-house no analytics campaign tagging tool that we built and we're happy to share now with everyone. It's a free tool to help everyone get their UTMs and other custom parameters that are going to define things around their marketing even more standardized, better, and quicker to do, and reducing massively, pretty much to zero human error, possibly zero from our testing. So we're proud to show this. So this is just going to go through a walkthrough of how to use this tool. There will be a link in the description, and on our website, but just to show you what we need to do and how to use it. And we'll go through a couple of examples as well, based on what we spoke about before, just so you can see that a little bit more in practice. And so to begin with, you'll see that we need to make a copy. So as any Google Sheet is, because this is hosted in a Google Sheet, you're going to have few level access. So you just need to make a copy. Wouldn't tick anything else. Just go copy, make a copy. Obviously, it's got a little bit to load, so just give it a second or two. Brilliant. So now we made a copy, and now we are our very own. So that means you've got edit access. You can share it with anyone you want to, etc., for your own benefit. So you don't just have view, you can actually now do things. Now that we've done that, we need to be aware of that you may get prompted some stuff around authentication for an app that may be considered unauthorized. There's nothing that should need to be authorized. It's just we're using an app script. We don't have a consent screen set up, OAuth. So it may say that, not to be scared. Obviously, please enable it at your own risk, obviously from a legal perspective. But we're not collecting information or data. It's simply doing some data cleaning to join, merge, and automate stuff using AppScript methodology of doing it. So it's not doing anything abnormal instead of storing data, etc. Obviously, you can also check, view the AppScript itself and see it yourself before going ahead, before giving any information, just to be on the safe side. But it is a free tool that we just want to provide to help everyone do best practice marketing analytics and measurement. So something we're quite proud to launch. There are a few out there, but we've improved it because we realized there was just still problems and not best practices still being applied. And so we've added more features and things to make it really, really good in our maybe biased opinion. But we'll talk that through in a second now. So then once you go into that, you're going to be step 4. And I'm just going to sort of view in a little bit more so you can all sort of see a little bit more. But we need to fill in some settings here on this campaign tag set building settings in this first page of how to use. This is important to go through and do. So by default, we recommend always lowercasing UTMs as a best practice normalization, just in case you accidentally put Google on one thing with a capital G and then Google lowercase g in another thing, but it's still Google. And unfortunately, I think tools at GA4 and stuff will see that as 2 separate things, and you have 2 separate rows, and that just gets messy. So we obviously don't recommend that. And then we also, in this UTM builder, we also enable you to add your own custom parameters. So if you don't just want to use the standard 5 UTMs that you can use, if you want to use other custom parameters to get more information, for example, you can add up to 5 extra ones. That should be plenty. I mean, also most tools limit how long a length of string can go through because the size limitation. So I don't think you can really, shouldn't be doing any more than 5. So you can go up to 5 if you want of your own custom parameters. Maybe you want to give more information and then add that as a custom dimension, a tool like GA4. So if you want to add your own custom parameters, it wouldn't show up in GA4 automatically. You have to set it up as a custom dimension, do all your tracking stuff. We're not talking tracking in this one. Or it could be other tools that you work with. Some use UTMs, some use something else. So you need to add both because for some of your other tools, you need to add that other one. So yeah, it's just important. Yeah, you may need that. And if obviously you want to lowercase them as well, I do recommend it. Then this is a really cool feature. And this is more for the geeky marketing analytics people like myself. If we ever audit, say a GA4 and we're looking at UTM campaign and general UTMs and how they've been done, one of the things we look at is UTM medium, and we want to make sure that's super concise. We've already explained what that means before, but what a UTM medium is, but it shouldn't be more than 12 unique values. Usually, if it's more than that, then probably UTM medium's not being used properly. So we like to just say, if you're a bigger organization and you've got multiple marketing teams doing different marketing activities and need to add UTMs onto their final destination URLs where they click the links that users may click on, you need to add that, append that information. And you've also got marketing agencies and everything, and you want to keep everything centralized, but you want your GA4 and stuff to be super clean and not broken and not done to best practice standards, then you may want to switch this to yes. So I've defaulted it to no, N. So it's just YN you need to put here. But I really recommend it if you're a larger organization, really takes their governance and data governance and quality really, really to hand. Then we definitely recommend Y for that. And then just below this, it's complementary. You just need to put comma separated values of everything you want to do. And what that will do, and we'll show it in a bit, but in the link tag generator under the medium column, it will force a list. So you'll start to see a list of things here. So yeah, you'll see a list pop up. And so the user has to forcibly click this list. So they'll have to use the drop down and select. And if they try to put anything else, it will throw an error in the final tagged URL column. So yeah, really good best practice. I think it's a really neat one. And yeah, you can also change the generated sheet name if you need to, small little thing. But the other really cool feature and kind of nerdy on us marketing analytics people is users, obviously, you're going to use spacing in between, right? It's a string, right? Campaigns might have a space or something, but you usually use something. Some people do just have spaces. I don't really get that. Usually it's supposed to be a delimiter used to break that up. So it's an underscore that connects the spacing, or a dash, or vertical pipe with spacing either side. They're the 3 common things. But if you're well, you've got so many marketing teams and each one's kind of doing their own thing, one's using underscores, one's using dashes, one using vertical pipe, et cetera, or some maybe you can use a combination of them I've seen. I think it just looks extremely messy in GA4 and it really gets hard to like follow. Just even like, I don't know, ISO wise, just looking at it, it's a bit hard to like, it kind of gives me a headache personally. But yeah, some people, maybe I've just got OCD over these things. But you can go, no, I want everyone to use the same one. I'm going to pick something. Then you can put like whatever you want, underscore here in this column here. And what that will do if a user tries to do, like, say if you put underscore and someone tries to do like a vertical pipe, it will replace that vertical pipe with an underscore. So that's what it does. It's just like, no, like I'm not letting you do that. I want me, the manager of this sheet, because maybe you hide this column after you've done the settings. I want it done in this manner. And that means anyone else that's you doing UTMs for our website app, I want it done in this way. So these are two really cool features. The features enforce allowed UTM medium list and delimited normalization. Really cool and really advanced. This is what I think makes this UTM builder super unique from that perspective. And then there's like, definitely needs to come here, info and best practices, read everything through. Tells you about what medium, traffic source, campaign name, what is all of this and examples and stuff. But some really cool things I want to cover of what we do. So we automatically clean your input. So again, one of the things is we're reducing human error. So classic example, if you put double spacing or you accidentally put a space at the end of like your campaign, UTM, sometimes it happens. It's just you're copying it in from one thing to another and you accidentally grab an extra space. Doesn't look very nice though. You can actually break your UTMs beyond that because if it's a space that's not decoded as well, like it's like not going to be accepted anything after that. So it breaks that. So it just fixes and normalizes best practices so that you don't have that issue. So yeah, and it also decode things. So like if you've got spacing, it will decode it. So if you try to put space and stuff. So again, just minimizing human error and making things look as clean as possible. We also enforce URL, UTM source, medium, and campaign. So if you don't put all four of these values, it will flag you're missing a value. You should always have a campaign. Like there's no excuse for that. And it's super useful. So don't think just because you're not doing paid ads or something like that or email, that you don't have a campaign name because you're doing organic social. It's like, well, it can be the intent of the post. There's always something you can add in campaign, right? So it's really important. So again, it's forcing best practices. And this is what I really love about this tool. All the stuff we kind of mentioned there, and there's some example extra tips on UTMs and things like that, but for your own leisurely reading. Now let's jump in. Let's go to the link tag generator and start doing stuff. So let's say, for example, I'm going to do a post on LinkedIn actually soon after this YouTube launch of this video, because I'm going to be showcasing like this UTM builder on my website for people to go and grab as well, even from the link from YouTube. And also I'm going to be doing LinkedIn posts and hopefully organic presence as well on search engines. But let's say, for example, I'm going to do a LinkedIn post on this to just show people I've done this really cool tool for people to go and access. So say I've got a general folder called free tools and I'm calling this campaign builder. So say we got like something like that, right? So we got free tools and we got campaign builder as a URL. Then, for example, we got the traffic source, which should be quite simply LinkedIn. Medium, I do social. You can maybe put organic here, but I like to keep it social, and then paid sort of social. I'd call it paid social, literally. Campaign name could be campaign builder free tool post, something like that. Expand the columns if you need to, as you need to. But yeah, this case, don't really need any other parameters. Quite happy with that for this example. It'll come here, generate it for you, ready to copy in. So then I can, maybe LinkedIn, I might need to shorten the URL and stuff, and then, etc. But, that might be another feature we'll add in the future, like a URL shortener. But unfortunately, that gets quite complex to deal with. You have to buy domains and stuff, but could be something we may consider in the future adding into this. But for now, if you need to shorten it, unfortunately, you need to manually do that. But at least the URL's ready with UTMs for you to do that or any extra parameters. Oh, another thing, if you accidentally forget to put HTTPS, it will do that for you. So if you just do that, it will go, well, you kind of need a HTTPS. Well, sorry, I need to put all the other values. So it won't let me test. All right. See, it added the HTTPS 2 dots and 2 forward slashes. So yeah, just let you know that it will do that. So if you accidentally forget. So another cool feature. So now let's do an example with paid social, and we're going to do Meta. Now Meta is you can dynamically generate like your campaign names, ad sets and stuff as ad content like within Meta ads, like using like within the settings, there's like curly braces you put and etc. There's a tagging section and it will do all the UTMs for you and get everything dynamically generated for you. But just for purposes of this, so I generally recommend that than doing manually UTMs even by this tool. Manually, it's just for sake of, it's a really, Facebook's always a great example with UTMs. So we'll do, since it's Meta, I'm specifically doing something on Facebook or Instagram because I've, done campaign structure like that. So I'm able to distinguish that quite easily in this case at ad level. Campaign 1, let's say that, very creative name. Add content now because we can add more information, and particularly I recommend it anyway. Usually got something called ad set within Meta ads. Even if I did leave something uppercased, it would lowercase it because you remember of that setting. But now we're like, well, we can add more stuff and keyword, for example, because there's so much information, right, about like performance within ad level information around what creative you're using, or using video, image, or carousel, or even within that, like there's different formats and dimensions. So you could give, or maybe you're specifically targeting a certain user and maybe it's not mentioned in the campaign name because you've not named it in the campaign, but within that ad set, that's what you're trying to do and it's not very clear. So maybe you need to add a custom parameter. But for example, keyword, you don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be necessarily a search term. You can just use it as something else as well. So that, it's just an extra bit of information. So if you're looking at Facebook paid social, you get more information about performance at a more granular level. Maybe it's a video asset, maybe do creative level stuff. Video, amazing. And you're like, well, maybe we want to add custom parameters. So this is how you deal with it. So there's more here unhidden and it tells you here. So if you want up to 4, I've just hidden it just so, page is not super wide. It's already pretty wide. So you can do, I don't know, audience. It doesn't have to be capital. You can lowercase it. It's pretty chilled. It will lowercase everything for you anyway. Then you could do audience and then, I don't know, ages 18 to 25. I don't know. That's your targeting. I don't know, that sort of thing. You put more stuff and that will get all appended. So you can see here, ages 18 to 25, your UTM content term and everything all added in there. So yeah, that's a really cool feature. So yeah, there's just a couple of examples. Now we're going to try and show you what it would look like if we were to enable forced list. And now if we come here, so it should, if we try to, so if we do, I don't know. So now you just type something in and it will auto-generate it here. So you don't need to you can technically rebuild that. That can mess up some things. So it's just better if you type something, it will repopulate it. Let's do another example where, so saying, paid social in this case is because I forced it to have a space, but maybe we don't want it with a space. We want it like that or whatever. But that's just an example. So it'll be like, hey, you're doing incorrect things and it will flag it there. So that's really cool, right? So it's like paid social. Let's try and do test. Violates, see, problem. So this is what I mean. It's so cool. It's like forcing people. I want to standardize stuff. Listen to me. I know what I'm doing. We don't want messy UTM mediums because they've got to be super concise. So yeah, another really cool feature. So I just wanted to show you that one as an example and what that does. Delimiter normalization. Let's do, I either like underscores or horizontal or vertical pipes is usually my favorite. In this case, we've done underscore. So now I've done mostly underscores, right? So we can see now, still underscore, great. But I'm going to be someone who's going to be difficult and I'm going to be like, but I want campaign 1 like that. And I'm going to do that for, again, Facebook. Because, let's make things look messy in our analytics setup, as many people do, unfortunately, unintentionally. As you can see, it's no longer, because it would be space, it would be decoded with percentage signs as well, and the delimiter, the vertical pipe, and then percentage sign because there's small spaces in between. As you can see, it's got the underscore, so it's overridden it. So this is like another really great feature. So that's what I said. So yeah, you can mess around with this and change the settings as you want, depending how advanced you are in this space. You may want to leave these off for the moment. So that N and that blank, but completely up to you. Depends on what level of analytics you want and how much control and governance you want. Usually probably better for more larger organizations. For smaller, I wouldn't mess around with more complicated stuff like this. But for larger, could be beneficial. All right, so to wrap this up, UTMs might seem like a small detail, but they are one of the most important foundations of accurate marketing measurement. If they're not structured properly, everything downstream suffers. Your Google Analytics 4 reports, your CRM attribution, and your ability to understand what actually is driving performance in your marketing mix. And that's when you start seeing things like inflated direct traffic, messy referral data, and a whole lot of not sets. But when you get this right, everything becomes clearer. You can trust your acquisition data, compare channels properly, and actually make decisions based on what's working, not just what looks good in your sort of marketing platform dashboards. And it doesn't need to be complicated. If you standardize your naming conventions, keep your structure consistent, and remove the chance of human error with a simple process or tool, you solve the majority of UTM issues straight away. And just to add, the UTM Builder I showed earlier is designed to do exactly that. It lets you bulk generate UTMs in a fully standardized and best practice way without relying on total manual inputs. So you remove human error entirely and keep everything consistent across your marketing teams. There's a link in the description where you can grab your own copy of this. If your data currently feels messy or unreliable, this is one of the highest impact fixes you can make. If you found this useful, give it a like and subscribe. And if you have any questions regarding UTMs, drop a comment below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you at the next one.